Imagine if your smartphone app linked you to a crime that you didn't commit. As an avid biker, Zachary McCoy uses an exercise tracking app called Runkeeper to record his rides. Google's location service put him at the scene of a crime, making him a suspect. But luckily, that same app also vindicated him. So should we be worried about the hidden dangers of technology? Here with his cautionary tale, Zachary McCoy and his lawyer, Caleb Kenyon. Thank you both for being here. This is a fascinating story. So Zachary, first, tell us, when was the first indication that you got that you had been tracked?
I believe January 14th was the date.
And how did this come about? So you went on this bike ride, regular night, regular bike ride, and how did this all play out?
Yeah, so I ride a bike through my neighborhood pretty regularly, usually a few times a week. I do the same route every time. So this particular bike ride happened in late March, I believe the 29th of 2019. And then in January of this year was when I received an email from Google.
Okay, now Caleb, what is the concern here? Because when I look at this, I see these geofence warrants that now law enforcement is using, where essentially they can compel companies like Google to disclose this information. Are you worried about a Fourth Amendment violation? What are the concerns here?
Absolutely. You know, one of the main concerns is that this particular type of warrant lacks the particularity that's required under the Constitution. And I could go into a fair bit of detail, but it would probably bore you. But this particular type of warrant, this geofence warrant, doesn't have the particularity that's required. That's the biggest concern. The second concern is that there's a privacy right that everyone has, especially in the state of Florida. We have a state constitutional right to privacy, and these geofence warrants just run all over that right.
Yeah, and obviously, Zachary, what's concerning to people here is that they sit back and they say, well, I ride my bike all the time, or am I being tracked? How do you know you're being tracked? We have a statement from Google. I want to get your response to that. They said, we vigorously protect the privacy of our users while supporting the important work of law enforcement. Our process for these specific requests is designed to honor our legal obligations while narrowing the scope of data disclosed and only producing information that identifies specific users where legally required. So what do you say to that defense by Google, Zach?
Well, I mean, obviously I was riding my bike past the house when this unfortunate thing occurred, so I understand from that point. I just think maybe it's time for us to look at the level of surveillance that these companies have and maybe like just draw a hard line as a society of what, you know, when we're okay with giving up all our privacy, you know, what level of event we would say is like the threshold for that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you both for being here.
Like if every time someone's bike goes missing out of their yard, are we okay with the entire neighborhood, their privacy just going out of the window?
Thank you both for being here. And obviously, to play devil's advocate, some believe, well, because people have to opt in, the responsibility is ultimately on them. But I'm curious to see how this all plays out. And thanks for being here.